Hey, YouTube! Scarpath from Scarpath's Comic Treks here with another Monday Mego Day. And this is a special one because I have some Wave 13 figures to look at for the first time. And also look at what's going to be up on the top site for Mego Monday as that rolls on. Of course, it's been costing us a lot of money here every week because they haven't put out one yet that I don't like. And this week is no exclusion. They're putting out the more Star Trek stuff because I think that's some of the best-selling stuff from them. So that's what they're putting out. Perry from Perry Comics in the house. Hey, Perry, how's it going? Hope everything's going well with you. And we're going to be looking at some Wave 13 from Mego tonight. And let me tell you where these things have been. So about maybe 3 weeks ago to a month ago, Frank from Absolute Retro, who I do all my business through, sent a package of some 8-inch figures to me. And they got sent to my old address. And the people at my old address, very hard to get a hold of. I wasn't able to get a hold of them for a while. And so Frank couldn't get any explanation from UPS where they were, whether they got delivered or not. And he kindly took care of me like Frank does. And that's why I really recommend Frank from Absolute Retro. He's a stand-up dude. And he mailed out a whole new box to me, which is coming actually tomorrow. And in the meantime, I was able to track down the original shipment. So we'll be sending the other one back to him. But I want to thank Frank, first off, for doing that for me. Really stand-up thing to do. Didn't have to do it. Potentially ate some cost doing it to me, and that's why I recommend him wholeheartedly if you need some Megos. Frank from Absolute Retro is one of the guys out there that's a stand-up guy and way to go. So hopefully you guys all doing good. Perry says he's doing good. Almost watching Perry's reactions there. He's got some good ones on his channel. I don't know if he's watched the new Candyman yet. The new Candyman movies out. I haven't heard too many good things about that though, but we'll see. Got my Candyman Mego right over here, right over there. So anyways, let's look at, I guess, first off, why don't we look at what's going to be going on for Mego Monday. So Mego Monday, if everybody doesn't know, is about maybe 5-6 weeks ago, they started this. We're releasing exclusive figures to the Mego site. So every Mego Monday, there'll be 2 new figures up there to order. They only last for about a week, and then they move on to new figures. And hopefully if they get enough orders, which they've been hopefully getting, they'll get produced. I would imagine you get your money back. But these are some big-time figures they got up there. You haven't seen the new one yet? All right, that's good. I haven't watched it. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. We'll see. I probably will at some point. So anyways, they've been producing a bunch of figures, some horror, some sci-fi, Star Trek. And this week, let's take a look at what they have available on the site. And it's 1 week only. It's Star Trek The Next Generation. We get the Borg Queen and Lieutenant Worf. And I tell you, they've been doing excellent jobs on these figures. Really, really fantastic. Last week was Cisco and Quark from Deep Space Nine, and they were done really fantastically. And I love this head sculpt on Worf. I don't know if they're going with the real hair here or not. It's hard to tell. And the Borg Queen looks interesting in a black onesie here. So let's see if we can scroll this down. And get you some close-ups of it. So there's Worf in all his glory with his Klingon sash. And it looks like they continue here with the emblem that's not sewed on. This is a plastic emblem, I believe, which is what it was for Riker as well. And they did a very good job capturing Worf, what he looked like probably in the later seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation. So there he is, warped in all his glory. And let's take a look at the board Queen. You know how enamored I am of the uniform is pretty good. It looks kind of like a cross between 7 and 9's unitards and what the board Queen was wearing. Obviously, she'd have a lot more hardware here. The head sculpt is okay. I don't know if it's too detailed. So, not sure what I'm going to do there yet. I think I'm definitely going to pick up a Worf. Board Queen, yeah, I may pick her up. As the head sculpt is pretty nice there. Mego's just been killing it with some of these figures of late. They've really been doing an excellent job on the 14-inch that just came out, and of course on the 8-inch line. So some very nice things there. So that's what's Mego has put out for this week. More Star Trek figures. I expect we're gonna get some monsters because the monsters have been selling pretty well for them too. So we'll see what's coming up next week. My guess would be we're gonna get monsters next week instead of just the Star Trek stuff we've been getting. So that's Mego Monday. Rolls on. So let's look at some of the figures that came in. Now, I don't think these are all the 8-inch figures. I think there's a few more that are still due. They've been coming in piecemeal because of some of the shipments arriving late and whatnot. But let's take a look. Don't know what's in this box. This is the first time I'm seeing them along with you. So let's take a look at this. And the first one is the Joker. And this is one of my favorite. They did an excellent job, I think, on this Joker. They killed it. The box, I think, is a little plain, but that kind of adds to it. That may be dictated by DC. It seems like the what they have to put on these things are dictated by the companies now more than anything else. We get the Joker figure, and we get the Mego heroes up in the corner. But I love that head sculpt for the Joker. Excellent, fantastic job. The costume is very 70s Joker, which is my favorite. One of my favorite Jokers out there would be the 70s Joker. And he's got the white hands. And that's the back. And there's the Joker. Of course, they get the 17 plus on some of these figures. I guess it's because they're in order to be collector's items, I guess you have to put them at 17 plus. But you know what's interesting is I found out that the Mego G.I. Joe stuff they have coming out is 8 plus. That deals with like war and stuff, and it's 8, and the Joker gets a 17. Well, okay. But there's a Joker. Look at that face. Look at that head sculpt. Excellent job. And I don't know if they're still listing who did these anymore. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Doesn't look like we get an idea of who did this. So I think they got doing away with the individual, which is too bad because, Rachel Baker and Sansom and some of the other guys over there, they do such an excellent job. It would be nice to get them credited for their work. But that's the Joker. Not a huge fan of this. I'm not really sure why I picked it up, but it was kind of a neat figure. Some people like this, and that would be Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender. Not a big manga fan or a big anime fan, but he has a certain audience. I thought the figure itself was kind of cool. It's listed under the movies category, which I guess it is sort of. It was actually more of a series on Nickelodeon. I think it was I think Perry probably Perry likes the Joker. I know, Perry, have you seen The Last Airbender? No, a lot of people like it. So there it is. Face sculpt. And that's what he looks like. And I don't know, maybe they should have made the eyes white because he looks a little dopey there. What's the arrow pointing to? Great show. Yeah, I've seen the first season. Perry says he's seen the first season. Great show. Looks great. So Perry, what does the arrow on his head pointing to? Is that pointing to magnetic north? Is that where he eats? But they did a nice job with the packaging. And there's the back once again. And this one does have Dr. Mego is a consultant, Andy Kovalt is a sculptor, and Rachel Baker did the costuming for that. So they did a nice job. Fairly faithful to the costume from what I can see. The arrow goes to all his limbs so that the point is on his head, hands, and feet. Oh, there you go, yeah. Okay. Uses that to go into the spirit world. Okay. I'll buy that. I haven't seen the show, but that's cool. Looks like we got back to another DC property here. And man, they nailed this one too. The Penguin. Look at that head sculpt on the Penguin there. With the nose. Look at the nose. I like how they turned his head in the box so that you get a good look at the nose. And he's got his hat. Doesn't seem to have his umbrella though. That's something I kind of wish they maybe included. I don't know. They show it on the back, unless it's in the back of them, which it may be. It may be in the back of them. I think it is actually in the back of them. But they did a real nice job with that. I like the costume. And no saying who did these. So there's probably a thing with DC where they don't want to have that in the packaging. But they did a nice job on this Penguin. Really nice. And last time I got the Batman in for Wave 13. Well, here's the Robin. Man, did they do a nice job picking these DC characters. That's probably the nicest looking Robin I think I've seen. Even in the FTC line that had Robin. I don't even think they did that good of a job of Robin, but they really nailed the 50s and 60s Robin on this. This is a good 50s Robin. He needs an umbrella, but love the top hat and one of those long cigarettes. Yes, I think he does have the umbrella. Yeah, back in the 60s, even the 60s and 70s, basketball players in Robin had some short shorts. Be kind of embarrassing for him to walk around here. He's got the green shoes, the knobby legs. But man, they nailed the cape, the gloves, and the head sculpt is perfect. And the costume is perfect. What a fantastic job. I kind of wish the packaging in the front was a little bit better. It's a little bland. But once again, that could be a DC thing. I know on the Star Trek line, Mego's got to pretty much do the packaging the way the Paramounts wants it. Well, CBS wants it. Here's the back. Interesting, they got more of a Nightwing type of Robin there, huh? Totally different from the way it looked. So I don't know whether maybe that was going to be what they were going to put out, and they went with a more traditional Robin, because that looks like a costume that was maybe in the late 80s or so. I don't remember him ever having that type of costume, but he could have. But I'm glad they went with a more traditional Robin. Now we need a good Batmobile to have them go with. Batman in a crop top? Yeah, could be. They did a nice job. Oh, and I got naked Dr. McCoy. Dr. McCoy. Don't look at his parts. Cover that up. This is a family show. Can't be showing that. Oh, Bones ass. Bones! Your ass is showing, Bones! What happened with Bones here is Mego put out this figure, and the Chinese who do the work didn't really paint his face and body too well. And he came out looking like he was drained of all his blood. And I have that in the package back there. So they shipped me a replacement Dr. McCoy body. But I don't think I'm going to open the anemic one. That might be a collector's item at some point. I'll see if I can find some duds for Doc McCoy here at some point and dress him up. But there's Doc McCoy and all his nudity. This stream is rated was it MC-17? And that's it for box number 1. Now let's go into box number 2. Let's see what we got in box 2. And in box 2, it looks like we have some apes. Get your hands up, you damn stinking ape. Dirty hands. And here we have, for the first time in a figure, Caesar. Caesar's packing some heat, wearing his green overalls. Caesar, of course, was in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, the third movie, played also by Roddy McDowell, who did Cornelius. Of course, Caesar's the son of Cornelius and Zira. And this is when he took up arms and go against his human aggressors. There's the back of the package with Caesar's mug on it. Hey, Funk Comic 814, how's it going tonight? Just look at some Megos, Mego Monday. Got some new figs in. So here we go. Here's Caesar. Caesar! And this is done Dr. Mego, Sean Sansom with the sculpt, and Rachel Baker was the seamstress. And they're nailing these ape lines. Of course, back in the day, Star Trek and Planet of the Apes, along with the DC heroes, and of course they had Marvel back in the 70s. They don't have Marvel anymore. But apes and Star Trek were the two biggest sellers back then, and everybody wanted them to do apes. Bring back the apes. So they've gone above and beyond, what they brought out, and more coming out all the time. They had some apes a couple weeks ago in the top special, and I'm sure we'll be seeing more. So that's Caesar from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Funk Comics, thanks for stopping by. Who's chilling? Looks like we got another damn dirty ape here. General Ursus. And I believe General Ursus was in... I'm going to say he was... I think he's in the... he's in the last movie. Is he in Battle for the Planet of the Apes? Yeah. So Conquest is the fourth. The third one was Escape from the Planet of the Apes. So Conquest was the fourth. This is the fifth. I think this is the one he was in. General Ursus in his costume. They was done a nice job. And he's wearing his hat, his helmet. There's the back. Dr. Mego, Sean Sansom, and Rachel Baker once again doing the costume for Journal Ursus. And the ape lines are just fantastic. I love the ape lines, along with the Star Trek lines, doing a really nice job. Really nice job. With the apes, next figure, a couple of the monster line, and in addition to the Universal monsters that Mego got the license and have been bringing out, they also are working with Hammer Studios. Hammer, of course, is the English version of the Universal monsters, where you have Frankenstein and Dracula and the Mummy. The British versions, and of course, the British movies were always more violent. They upped the sex, the violence, the blood. The makeup on the monsters were a lot more scary and extreme. And I loved those British movies. Probably my favorite was Curse of the Werewolf with Oliver Reed. Frankenstein movies with Christopher Lee, Christopher Lloyd, Reverend Jim. He didn't do that. Christopher Lee, and of course any of the Frankenstein stuff with Peter Cushing. So the next one is from a one-off, The Reptile. And that was a British horror movie. Look at the face. That's pretty accurate to the way she looked in the movie, The Reptile. What a great figure that is. Of course, it looks like a reptile's a little googly-eyed, because that's what she looked like in the movie. Pretty dang close. And, of course, that's what she looks like in a figure. Nice packaging, too. Very nice packaging for the reptile. Excellent stuff. They keep on putting out, and they are coming out with some more Hammer stuff very, very soon. This The Mummy, also from, I guess this is, The Mummy is actually from the Universal Monsters. Now, they did The Mummy pretty early. And it wasn't really a Universal type thing. So now I think they've gone back and they're doing more. So this is the Universal Boris Karloff Mummy. I think he did a nice job this time with the head sculpt being a little bit more accurate to the Boris Karloff version, the costume. And the Mummy they had put out before was more of a generic mummy. Also a nice figure, but this is the Universal one. And there's the back. And let's credit who did this, Dr. Mego, Sean Sansom, and Rachel Baker being very, these trio very active in this batch on Wave 13. Very nice. In addition, they're putting out figures from Young Frankenstein, and this is Dr. Frankenstein. Frankenstein, not Frankenstein, Frankenstein. They do have Frankenstein, the Frankenstein, Young Frankenstein monster coming. They've already done the Marty Feldman character, Igor, in one of the past waves. And here's the Gene Wilder, and look at that head sculpt. Really nice version of Dr. Frankenstein from the great Mel Brooks Young Frankenstein movie. I love this movie. The back, of course, has Gene in his role as Dr. Frankenstein. And this is Dr. Mego, Andy Koval this time doing the sculpt, who's also a fantastic sculptor, and Rachel Baker doing the costume. And I tell you, they nailed Gene Wilder. They nailed him. Now these figures, for the most part, if you can find them online, are going for about, I would say, between $15 and $18. You might get paid a little more, but man, for the money, it's unbelievable. The quality you get they're just nailing the 8-inch monsters, 8-inch Trek figures. Young Frankenstein. And lastly, we go back to Star Trek and filling out another villain, a Klingon, but this time from the original series, unlike Star Trek The Next Generation, we get Kang the Klingon. Kang the Klingon. And it looks like Kang's coming with some. Looks like he has some possibly some phasers on him. I'm not sure. Can't tell what he has, but there's his sash. And of course, Kang the Klingon was played by the late great Michael Ansara in the third season episode Day of the Dove. That's the episode where the winky blinky alien malevolent force invades the ship and forces the Enterprise crew and the Klingons to fight with swords and rape and pillage. And of course, Michael Ansara was Kang, and one of the best jobs, one of the best Klingon portrayals in the show, along with John Colicos, who played Kor. Kor also is coming out in a top special edition. That was one of the very first one. Here's Kang the Klingon, so some more aliens for the Star Trek line. And they nailed Michael Ansara pretty well there. Back when the Klingons were swarthy villains. Dr. Mego consultant. Looks like we have James Brady as a sculptor and Rachel Baker doing the costuming. And they nailed that glittery pants look for the Klingons pretty well. Kang the Klingon, and there he is from the Day of the Dove episode with his sword. So that's it. That's everything I've gotten so far. There are some ones MIA. I know Riker is coming soon, and there's a few other ones that are kind of lost in limbo because they got on a different shipping container, and there's some 14-inch ones still coming. I know Shazam and Kirk. So we'll be doing probably one more of these to round out Wave 13 when those come in. And then we're off to Wave 14, and pre-orders for Wave 14 are happening online. So you can talk to Absolute Retro, ZLC Collectibles. Any place you buy your Mego should be able to pre-order them for you. Wave 14 is continuing the greatness of Wave 13. Some fantastic figures in there. And we'll probably do a video shortly going over all the Wave 14 figures so you can make up your mind and see what you're going to buy. But certainly another nailed it, hit it out of the park for Mego. This line, and everything that's coming out in the Tops line is really stepping up their game. So as they get into more places and release more figures, hopefully we'll get more DCs and some other stuff for you. So just wanted to pop in here tonight with some Mego stuff, and we'll be back when there's more to announce. So we'll catch you all later. Have a good night, everybody.